I like to start by saying that none of these stories are real. A lot of them are just 100% made up, and when I say like, oh, I'm a certain person, it's just completely made up. So okay, that's it. So this story happened a couple years ago when I'm about 16 years old. I wanted to get a car, but my parents wouldn't allow me. They said I need to get a job first before I got a car. So I decided to work at a clothing store not too far from my house. It's also connected to a mall. I thought, hey, it's a good place to get a job. I could I can earn experience, shop there, see people, and earn enough money to get earn enough money for my car. So I thought, hey, what could go wrong? So just for some background, like I said, I'm 16, but I look older than I rightfully am. Some I said 18, 20, 21, I guess 22 at the max. So I'm kind of used to guys hitting on me, but I brushed it off. It's not that big of a deal. But I just tend to ignore them, and they probably go away for the most part. So, anyways, this for the first incident happened about a little more than half a year my first shift. But this it was like I said, because I was only 16. Most of the time, I would work during the morning. So this one day, I was again. This one got really serious. When I first encountered, I was working in the morning, and I saw this one guy. I mean, this guy was at least 27 years old to 30, and this guy just kept staring at me, and I thought it was kind of weird. But I like to also add that I was working in the women's section of the clothing store. So I was like, okay, what's this guy staring at me for? I thought, you know what, it's probably not that big of a deal because he's probably just buying something for his girlfriend, and I don't want to be I don't want to be judgmental. So I thought it's nothing that big of a deal. It's all my imagination. So, so I guess again, and then about 10 or half an hour later, I saw the same guy staring at me. I thought, again, I thought, you know what, it's not that big a deal. He's just probably just walking around, and just a coincidence. Then during my lunch hour, I was eating at the food court again, and then I saw the same guy. He was about 3 tables away from me, just staring at me. He had like a small sandwich, so I thought, okay, this is getting kind of weird. But I thought, look, this is a big mall. Lots of stuff happening. Lots of people work here, including staff. It's just probably not. It's just someone that looks like. It's just probably someone that looks like, and it's I'm being paranoid. So I brushed it off. I think the next day I saw him a couple of times, but after that, for the next 2 weeks, I didn't see him anything. But after a month or so, it's when it became really serious. After a month, I was working the shift, and then I saw the same guy staring at me. Now, and this guy had been following me for at least half an hour. So I thought, okay, look, dude, I got this is getting weird. I gotta go confront him. Now, I didn't really want to confront him by like actually being confrontational. I thought maybe I could do something. Now, during this time, my boss was encouraging all of us to interact with employees, with the customers more. So I thought, okay, maybe I can ask him something. So I walked up to him and asked him, sir, can I help you with anything? And I think he didn't notice that I was noticing him because as soon as I said this, he freaked out. He panicked. He's like, and that's when he's like, "Oh, I'm here to buy," and he grabbed a Godova candy bar that was near the cashier. So that rang the person up. Like this, this is kind of weird because in the 4 months I've been working here, no one had just came here just for a candy bar. I thought, whatever. So I rang the candy bar up, and then after he bought it, he looked at me and said, oh, "Darling, now that I bought a candy bar, could I give you my phone number?" So I thought this is getting weird. I thought, okay, look, maybe like I said before, I looked 21. He just thought I looked older, so maybe I can mention that I'm only 16. So I said, you know what? I don't think you could do that. It's a it's against store policies, and I'm only 16 years old, and I don't think my parents would allow that. I made sure to emphasize the fact that I was only 16, and he looked at me, and then I don't think that registered to him too much. He looked at me and he looked kind of weird, and then he grabbed the candy bar and he just walked away. So I thought, okay, look, maybe this is done. I told him I was 16 years old. This guy's will stop looking at me. But the next day, he came back again and looked at me. Why don't you want to date me? I thought, why don't you want to date me? I told him again, like I said, I'm 16 years old and I just don't think it's a good idea. Like I said, it's against the rules and my parents don't allow it. And he looked at me and says, don't worry, I won't tell anybody. By now, I was getting a little bit more frustrated. I said, "No, I'm sorry, sir. Please, just I can't do it." So I tried walking away. The third day, he came back to me again, and he said, "Um, lady, why don't you want to date me?" I'm like, "Okay, sir, I told you again, it's against the rules. Can you just please leave me alone now?" This is when I tried to rip, but he didn't grab my arm. I said, "Okay, sir, can you just please leave me alone?" He said, "Hello." And then I thought, "Okay, sir, if you don't do this, I'm gonna call the security." And as soon as he heard that, he will run away. Now, most of you are like right now, why I didn't do it? Why didn't I call security? Well, like I said, I was only 16 years old, and I didn't want to get in too much trouble with my boss. So I decided, look, if I just do this, the guy would leave me alone. The most serious case was when about a week after. Now I had somehow gotten which the night shift, but my boss said that she would watch him, she would be there to make sure nothing bad happens. And so during I finished my night shift, I was in the this was about 8 o'clock or so. I was by myself, and I was waiting for some of my friends, my parents, to pick me up. Then the creeper, came back again. He looked at me. He said, "Oh, ma'am." And then I looked up. "Okay, sir, please leave me alone." And then that's when I'm like, "Sir, I'm gonna call security." And he looked at and he looked around and says, "You didn't call security last time. I don't think you're gonna call this time again." So by this time, I was getting really frustrated. I'm like, "Okay, sir, please leave me alone." And then he kept crawling next to me. I'm like, "Okay, sir." That's that's when he came up and I grabbed my pepper spray and pepper sprayed him. And then I ran back into the store, and I called my boss. And that's when my boss called 911 and arrested this man. Anyways, this was my story. I've been a security guard at this. I've been a night security guard at this mall for about 10 years. It was a really easy job, kind of boring, but the pay was good. Like I said, the job was pretty easy. We didn't really do much. We occasionally had to make sure teenagers that wouldn't overstay visits, homeless people that try to sleep in the mall, and people that trying to vandalize the park. We occasionally had to deal with violent people. That was extremely rare. So I was one of three security guards that worked the night shift. The shift started at 10 o'clock to about 4 in the morning. Now, for some background information, the mall itself closes at 10 o'clock, but there was an arcade that was attached to the mall that closed at 2 o'clock. So there should be no one at the mall that didn't work there after 2:30. This was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was looking through one of the security cameras where I saw at one of the security cameras this figure just standing there. Now, when I first saw this, I was getting really frustrated because I assumed one of my new coworkers, John, who had just started working there for a couple of months, must have not locked one of the doors. So I look at him, "John, you need to make sure the doors are locked." He kept arguing, insisting I did, and his coworker insisted with him. So I was like, "Okay, I need to check what's going on. I need to prove them wrong, that he didn't lock the door." When I went to the doors, I realized that they were indeed locked. Now this now this kind of freaked me out. But I thought, okay, it's probably nothing. When I walked to the toy store, there was nothing there. So I thought, okay, it must have been an imagination. And I walked back to the camera room. When I went back to the camera room, after about 10 minutes, I saw this figure there. Again, the figure there. So I was getting a little freaked out. And when I walked back to the toy store, again, like last time, there was no one there. I decided to radio one of my coworkers because I insisted that I thought they must have been pulling a prank. But after arguing, they insisted that they weren't. And I just realized last time I saw them, they were all the way across the other side of the mall. So there was no way that they could have done this. I thought, okay, it's probably nothing. I decided to go back to the skating camera to see if I could see anything else happen. But before I could go, I heard this voice. Okay, you guys all that know that movie, The Shining, where the two little girls say, "Come play with us." This was exactly like that. They said, "Come find me, Victor." Now I was getting kind of freaked out because I was curious, how in God's name did these people know my name was Victor? So I decided to look around. I said, "Okay, look, whoever this is, you guys need to knock it off. You guys are going to come out with me, or I'm going to call the cops." But nothing happened. Again, the same voice. "Come play with us, Victor." Now, but this time I was getting a little frustrated. I'm like, okay, I can try to find the voice and see what it is, and make sure and call the cops and arrest this person. But whenever I try following the source of the voice seems to disappear and appear from somewhere else. come play with us, Victor. Again, the same voice. So come try finding Victor. So by the time I was getting really freaked out, I didn't know what was going on. I decided to call one of my coworkers to see if they heard any voice, but they insisted that they didn't. So after searching the mall for about 20 minutes or so, I didn't find anything. After my shift, I decided to tell my boss what happened, and they had their a cop review the camera, and they had reviewed all the exits and all the cameras. But after reviewing all the cameras and everything, they didn't see anything. No one breaking in, nothing happened. Just me in the mall trying to find an imaginary person.